10 random magic cards rated day number 110 as we take a short break from, I was going to say Duskmorn. Wow, I'm still in Bloomborough spoiler season in my own mind, but this day in history we're actually in MTG Foundations previews. But let's see what our first card of the day is. Why not? It's Hour of Promise. This is from Hour of Devastation over here. This is 5 mana, 4 and a green for a sorcery. Search your library for up to 2 land cards, put them on the battlefield tab, shuffle up. Then, if you control 3 or more deserts, create 2/2/2 black zombie creature tokens. This card actually saw some play back in the day. Turns out making a couple of guys is pretty decent. And it puts a couple of lands on the table too. So maybe that triggers landfall or just ramps you into a 7 or 8 drop or something. So not the worst thing in the world. We typically want these ramp 2 land things to cost 4 mana at the most. But when it comes with a couple of bodies, we will take that. So probably not like the most commander playable card in the world unless you're doing something with zombies and ramp, which I guess is, there's some potential there, right? But this probably doesn't see too much play nowadays. Evidence by its 50 cents price tag. You can get it for 9 cents from Outlaws Thunder Junction Commander, but has been reprinted in some Commander products. So I guess there is some promise there, Waka Waka. But yeah, I'll just give this like 4.9. I'm not feeling super generous today. I'm really not. So I'll actually go 4.87 on this. I just think that even though it does give you bodies, most of the time you just rather this costs less mana. I think. But next is Skirk Commando from Onslaught over here. This is 3 mana, 1 and 2 red for a 2/1 Gabo. When he deals combat damage to a player, you may have it deal 2 damage to target creature that player controls. You can also morph this for 2 and a red. So you play it face down for 3 mana, turn it face up anytime for its morph cost. The absolute most simple version of this ability, right? We've seen a bunch of different takes on it over the years, but yeah, it's kind of interesting because you can morph it, get it in for combat damage, and then turn it up. I think if your opponent sees it coming, it's going to be a lot harder to actually deal combat damage with it. But maybe you can make it unblockable somehow with an aura or something, and then it just keeps pinging stuff after it gets through. So not terrible, but not good. Let's say this is not like an amazing magic card. I think at this mana cost, you're probably not going to play it just about anywhere, even given the like decent creature types. So I'm just going to slap a 3.7 on this card. Like, I guess it can do some stuff. It can do some stuff. It's probably not very good though. Urza's Tower. We've actually done the Urza's lands already, and I think I gave them like a 7.5 or an 8 because they're really good. But next is Ulasht, the Hate Seed. This is originally printed in Guild Pact. 4 mana, 2 a red and a green for a 0/0 Legendary Hydra. It comes into play with a +1/+1 counter on it for each other red creature you control, and a +1/+1 counter on it for each other green creature you control. Pay 1 and remove a counter from him. To choose 1, he deals a damage to target creature, or you put a 1/1 green Saproling creature token into play. There was a time where this was a beloved card, but I don't think it got much of a moment in the sun. It does seem like a fun commander to play though, right? Just play a bunch of creatures, probably like green or red tokens or something like that. Then he comes into play with like 8 counters on him, and you can make more 1/1 dudes. You can like make more tokens, right? That's actually interesting in Commander because you can remove all the counters from him and effectively just kill him, right, yourself, and put a bunch of saps into play. And then the next time you play him out of the command zone, he'll be even larger because you have all those saplings, right? So that's kind of cute. He can also just like kill stuff. That's kind of fun. He can just take out like 2 or 3 guys. So I don't know, man. I've always liked this dude, but I feel like he never quite got his due. He's a nice guy, though. I'm going to give him a solid 5. I think this is about where we want a Magic card to be while not being in any way overpowered. You know what I mean? So cool dude. You can do a lot of stuff with him. I like that. He's probably not good enough for like Gruul Commander nowadays, but he's pretty okay, dude. He's the more I read him, even right now, the more I think like, okay, probably do some cool stuff. I like saps. I like saprolings a lot. But next is Tectonic Giant from Theros Beyond Death. You were supposed to do a thing in Standard, and you never really did. But Tectonic Giant is 23 cents, apparently. It's 4 mana, 2 and 2 red for a 3/4 elemental giant. When it attacks or becomes the target of a spell an opponent controls, choose 1. Either this guy deals 3 damage to each opponent, or exile the top 2 cards of your library. Choose one of them till the end of your next turn. You may play that card. So the idea here is that if you play them and your opponent immediately blows them off the table, you get some value. If your opponent doesn't kill him and he gets to attack, you get some value. Right? So all that's pretty good. It still looks like a decent Magic card to me, but maybe this is supposed to teach us the lesson that 4-mana 3/4s aren't great. They're just not like super good most of the time, but I still say this dude is like enough value to be kind of neat. He keeps getting reprinted in Commander products, so maybe people play him there, but he's just an all-around solid card, man. I'm going to give this guy a 5. I sound lazy today, but no, I think that a 5 is about right. Again, this is like right at the balance of a good Magic card where it's like, you can't say that it's actively terrible, but it's obviously not like busted good or anything like that. So I think a 5. I think it earns a 5. Why not? Let's move on to Jace's defeat from Hour of Devastation. 2 mana, 1 and a blue, instant, counter target spell. If it was a Jace Planeswalker spell, counter target blue spell, God, can you imagine? Counter target blue spell. If it was a Jace Planeswalker spell, scry 2. I would say big to this. I guess if it does counter a blue spell, then congratulations. It is like better than counter spell technically. And if it ever counters a Jace, then it seems okay, but it's probably not going to, like 9 times out of 10. You probably just won't add this to your commander decks at all. So I'm going to give this a 3.7. What did I give that goblin that sucked? I should have probably given that like a 3.4 or something. But yeah, I'd say Jace's defeat like 3.7-ish. You know, like it's not terrible. It's really not. Counter a blue spell? Fine, sure. But I'm not sure how much you're going to want to actually add this card to anything. The next is Heroism, only ever printed in Fallen Empires. Don't let that make you think it's good, though. This is an enchantment, 2 and a white, so 3 total mana. Sacrifice a white creature. For each attacking red creature, prevent all combat damage that would be dealt by that creature this turn, unless its controller pays 2 and a red. So... okay, you sack 1 white creature, and then all the red creatures don't deal combat damage. Yeah, this is one where like the original one actually kind of explains it a little bit better. 0, sack a white creature to have attacking red creatures deal no damage during combat this turn. The attacking player may pay 2 and a red for an attacking creature to have it deal damage as normal. So that's kind of neat because you can blow out blocks, right? Because it's just their attacking red creature. It's not like a fog effect. Like your dudes will still deal combat damage. And that's kind of sick. You can also activate this like anytime during combat. So like after they play pump spells or something like that, or they target one of your dudes with removal, just like sacrifice it. No, all their red dudes that are attacking or blocking won't hit back. That seems okay. So I don't hate this, but obviously it's just like restricted to one color. It's a hoser. And if your opponent has one dude they want to deal combat damage, like that dude probably can, but you might tie up a lot of their mana in doing so. But it ties up a lot of your mana to play the card in the first place. It's just not like amazing, but this is another one I kind of have to say, like, this is not butt ugly god awful, right? Like it's not Mark Poole's best effort, but I kind of like the background, all the little demon guys. That's cool. And this he's got a baby and he's holding him like a football. So I guess this maybe is one of Mark Poole's best efforts. This is the more I look at it, the more I kind of like it. But still, it's a little too much mana and it's a little too color specific for me to give a good grade to. But I'll still throw a like 4 at it. And I'm totally serious. It's a pretty unique effect that you can really game. And it's not like there aren't attacking red creatures in Commander. There totally are. So. We'll move on, though, to Treetop Scout. A single green mana for a 1/1 elf that can't be blocked except by creatures with flying. So, like, reverse reach, you know, it just has flying, kind of. That's basically flying. You know what I mean? This was originally printed in Skarrg, and really kind of only in Skarrg, but still only about 18 cents, even though it's kind of good. This is kind of all right. It's not straight up unblockability, but on a 1 mana 1/1 with a very relevant creature type, especially given that like it's going to be the beneficiary of, like anthem effects and stuff like that. You know, eventually it's going to be like a 3/3 or a 4/4 fairly easily. So I don't know. I kind of want to like the dude. I'd never really seen him before. I was taking a break during Skarrg, so I'm not super familiar with this guy, but I like him. I do. I'm not going to give him a very good score, but I do kind of like him. I'm going to give him a 3.75. This guy actually gets a 3.7, right? Like the Goblin dude, I'll readjust his score. But this guy, yeah, 3.7. I know that sounds like a lot, but he's got a pretty good evasive ability. He's basically a Script Sprites, right? Script Sprites isn't very good. Would I give Script Sprites a 3.7? Probably not, but Script Sprites doesn't have a relevant creature type, and this does. Ha ha ha! So let's just move on to Atmosphere Surgeon from Phyrexia. All will be one. This is 2 mana, 1 and a blue for a 2/1 Phyrexian Wizard. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, put an oil counter, it's one of these, on Atmosphere Surgeon. I'll let you out after this one's done, chicken. We've only got a couple of cards left. I'm coming. Remove an oil counter from him. Target creature gains flying till end of turn. You can only do that at sorcery speed, just in case you wanted to do it at instant speed. It seems silly. Opponent casts a spell like destroy target non-flying creature, and you're like, not so fast, bub. Like the card won't let you do that, so that's kind of stupid. I don't know. You'll cast a fair number of non-creature spells in some games of Magic, so making a dude get flying every turn, well, it's not terrible. I keep saying that's kind of the refrain in this, but it's not terrible, but it is very drafty, obviously. So I'll just give this like a 2.6. I think it lands somewhere in there. Like, obviously not good. But Skarrg printed in Guild Pack. This is a pretty decent card, man. Skarrg the Rage Pits is a land. You can tap it for a colorless, or you can pay a red and a green and tap it to have a creature get +1/+1 and gain trample until end of turn, which is just sick to have on a land. I mean, the +1/+1 is all right. You know, it's extra gravy. You'll take it. But it's really just like this thing gets guys through. You know, it gets huge dudes through with trample, and that is always great. Like, Gruul Commander decks basically need to play a copy of this, you know, most of the time. They got some big dudes to get through that don't happen to have trample. So just a very good card, man. I tend to overvalue lands, and I'm not going to stop now. 6.2. 6.2 for Skarrg. The Raj Pits. All right, is that only 6 cards so far? I feel like we've done more. I don't know why. Maybe it should be more. Is that actually 7? I think it might be 7. Anyway, Yoshimaru Ever Faithful is a single white mana. This is from a Neon Dynasty commander. This is a 1/1 legendary dog. Whenever another legendary permanent enters the battlefield under your control, put a +1/+1 counter on Yoshimaru, and this has a partner. So that means you can have 2 commanders if both of them have partner. But sometimes in my tiny little pod that hardly ever actually sees each other, we will let any thing with partner just partner with any commander, regardless of whether your commander has partner or not. And it's kind of a fun time, but that's not the typical experience for most people. This is pretty good, though. This is okay because, you know, on turn 2, you'll play a legendary 2-drop. I like that it's a legendary permanent, not just a creature. So you can play a legendary enchantment or artifact or something. It's still going to get the bonus. But yeah, by turn 3, this should be a 3/3 pretty easily, and may even be a 4/4 if you play like a bunch of 1-mana legends. So cool guy here, man. I do like him. And this particular art for the Secret Lair drop I love, even though the price is almost $50. That's a bit much. From Neon Dynasty Commander, this still commands a $6 to $7 price tag. So obviously people are into it, dude. I'm going to give this a very solid 1-drop right here. It's like a Champion of the Parish for legendary guys, and that's very good. So I'm going to give this dude like a 6.4. You know, I really like good 1-drops, and he definitely is one. Hinterland Harbor's up next. I believe we've done this card before, so let's move on. Eye of Vecna, though, we have not done. This is from Adventures in the Forgotten Realms. It's only about 30 cents right now. It's 2 mana for a legendary artifact. Hey, this grows the Yoshimaru on turn 2. But anyway, when this enters the battlefield, you draw a card, you lose 2 life. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may pay 2 mana. If you do, draw a card, lose 2 life. So this could be a nice little like piece of card draw, you know, every single turn for, I don't know, mono green or something, mono red, mono white, before it got all the stuff that draws cards like 5 years ago, before it started getting all those cards. Maybe it could play this, but doesn't need it anymore. I'm talking strictly about Commander here. I think that there are some decks that could use a piece like this or something similar. You know, there's like a 5-mana artifact that effectively draws an extra card every turn for no mana. There's a few of those. And again, white used to use those. Green still sometimes does, depending on the makeup of the deck. So I don't know. I could see this going from time to time, especially in Commander where you got more life to burn. But still not quite on par with some of the card draw engines you probably have access to almost no matter what color you're playing. So I will give this card a 5 point. Oh, I've done way more than 10 cards today. That's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I've done like 14 cards. That's a pretty big day today, guys. I think I see where I've gone wrong here. But anyway, I put way too many ticks on 2 different days. So I guess this should be the last card of the day. You got me. A 14 card, 10 cards rated day. I have a Vecna. I'm going to give like a 5.32. I really am, dude. I've been debating it in my head the whole time, and I think that it deserves a 5.3. I think it's a pretty decent Magic card when you give it a chance. Sometimes you got to give them a chance. But anyway, that was kind of a lot more cards than we usually do. Sorry, but we actually made pretty good time now that I look at the time. So I'll see you guys later. You deserved an extra couple of cards because I took a long time to get the video out today. I apologize. I love you. Bye.